Going on, YouTube? How you guys doing? Seeing you over from my vacation over in Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, whatever you want to call it, Tennessee. Decided to take some moment on May. Just got done squatting, so we're not at the normal time, which is in the afternoon. We're in the early morning, so I can go off and have a good day with my family. But I want to make sure to do my 2-time weekly live to make sure you guys get everything else. Just got done doing squats, leg press at a local gym, Elite Fitness in Gatlinburg. It's a wonderful facility, awesome facility. Anyway, got my swollen in here with my machine fuel. I haven't eaten breakfast yet. I'm still a little bit fasted. So just wanted to get on with it. So if I get a little lightheaded, it's because I just did squats and haven't eaten. But the topic we're going to go over live today, no notes, no anything, is a topic about training versus exercise. Now, here's the thing. With exercise, you're looking at simply getting the heart rate and improving your cardiovascular health and everything like that. Cardiovascular exercise or exercise in general doesn't necessarily have to have a purpose in mind. Exercise and exercise. For example, the U.S. government recommends 30 to 60 minutes of exercise daily, whereas that doesn't train for specificity. Now, exercise can be training. For example, when I was training for my boxing match, I was training boxing 90 minutes a day, but that training included technical, which wasn't really that great of exercise, wasn't burning that many calories, wasn't building that much muscle, but I was learning the technique that would carry over into that sport. Whereas exercise would be the 3 miles I ran later in the day, which was, to improve my cardiovascular for the boxing. However, that was also specific because cardiovascular activity is the same. Now, most of you watching this are not boxers. You're not elite soccer players. You're not elite basketball players. You guys are simply like me. You're everyday dudes looking to increase lean mass and burn fat. And so when you go to the gym, if you're going to just exercise, don't even bother with weights, right? That's not really the greatest for cardiovascular activity. That's not going to cause you to burn the most calories right there on the spot. That's not going to cause you to have any overload principle. It's not going to be like running a marathon in output. It's not all about output. But weight training is about progressively overloading the muscle to cause your body to recruit more fibers, to recover, adapt, and build more muscle fibers. And as you build more muscle, your body increases its metabolic rate because muscle is extremely metabolically active. So as you do that, you're able to burn more fat. So while training isn't simply exercising, training for specificity, which in our case is hypertrophy and fat loss, hypertrophy being muscle gain, fat loss being, fat loss. You are training for specificity. However, if you're going for straight exercise, it's totally different. So what do I mean by this? What's the take home of this message? Well, the take home is when you go to the gym, you don't necessarily have to feel like you just got beaten. You don't have to train beyond failure. Hell, you don't even have to go to failure. In fact, a lot of studies have demonstrated that training to or beyond failure may even be detrimental. What you're looking for in muscle gain is overload, progressively overloading, whether you're overloading with more volume, whether you're overloading with more load, workout to workout in a linear fashion, you want to make sure you increase or progressively overload. So if you progressively overload, for example, when I came off my 15 weeks of boxing, I was at a set point where I wasn't as strong as I was, and I wasn't really, that adapted to weight training because I took nearly 4 months off of weight training for bodybuilding. So I was able to go sub-maximal. So I started my squats at 225 for 5 reps. I'm now up to 275 for 5 reps, and this is for 3 sets after working up. Now, not only have I increased the volume, because I have an extra workup set, because I work up by a quarter each side, so I do 135, 185, 225. And then if I'm doing 275, I do 135, 185, 225, 275. And then I do 3 working sets with 275. So I added that extra warm-up set, but I also added that load. So I increased 2 factors in progressive overload. Now I increased the weight by 10 pounds each workout, which is 5 pounds per side. So each workout, my body has to recruit more and more and improve more and more when it recovers. And also by not going above and beyond failure, I'm able to recover faster because my volume is 10 sets instead of 20, and I'm able to hit legs again in 3 days. Whereas a lot of bros will go to the gym, do 30 sets of legs, completely crush themselves and not be able to walk for the next 2 weeks. So the bottom line is, you need to figure out what you're training for. And if you're training for something, it might not necessarily be the best exercise. For example, my daughter in soccer, she'll stand there and juggle the ball. She's done nearly 1,000 juggles. She did like 994 juggles in a row, okay? Now, juggling isn't the best exercise. She'd be better off for exercising running up that hill over there in the mountains, right? However, for soccer, if she's combining that with the cardiovascular activity inherently found in soccer and training cardiovascular and strength outside of that, she's going to have a much better likelihood of being good at soccer because she's training the skill and she's training the actual exercise component of it. So if you have that component involved, you need to have training. So if you're training for muscle gain and fat loss, don't always look at exertion as the measure of how hard you train. Alberto Nunez actually posted this on his Instagram the other day. I learned to train and not simply exercise. When I go to the gym, I'm going to overload that muscle, then I get out. And I've done videos about this before. If you get sore the next day, you trained a little too much. Now, if you're a little achy, you're like, yeah, I feel that a little bit. My chest's a little sore, my legs are a little sore. That's a good thing. But if you can't walk to the car because you train your legs too hard, that's not a good thing. Because in 3 days, you're not gonna be able to train legs again. And if you're looking for a good volume and frequency thing, I think you'd be better off training more frequently with less volume. So it's all about total things. Now look at it this way. So bro goes to the gym and crushes his legs for 20 sets on Monday. And me, just a dad bod, goes to the gym on Monday, does 10 sets of legs, then goes to the gym on Thursday, does 10 sets of legs, but I'm able to hit it with equal or greater intensity on Thursday I did than Monday. Who got better results? Well, I'm gonna go for the guy who has more frequency due to protein synthesis elevation and all of those variables involved. So there you have it. Let's have some questions and we'll do our best to answer these. Still, it's too early, Mark. I'm still sipping coffee. My family and I are going to an amusement park today, so I wanted to make sure to get this out of the way so I don't miss it. Sipping on that ruckus now. Well, it's time to train, isn't it? What's your opinion on cardio before training, like a morning session and 3 to 4 hours later you're weightlifting? 3 to 4 hours later, you've completely recovered. It also depends what kind of cardio. If you're doing hardcore cardio, like if you're doing hill sprints, and then you go and try to do legs later, you will exhaust yourself. But if you're doing low intensity, steady state for 30 minutes, I don't see that impairing your recovery. I don't like cardio directly before training, unless it's just used as a warm-up. I will do 10 minutes on the step mill sometimes in the morning just to warm up. For fat loss, do you prefer solid steady state, straight cardio, running, bike, etc., or HIIT? I think they all play a role, and it depends on what training you're doing. If you're training with weights 4 to 6 times a week, HIIT might not elicit as many benefits. However, HIIT does have a lot more benefits, in my opinion, for cardiovascular health and overall performance. So if you train 4 days a week, I like HIIT. However, if you are exhausting yourself and you've already done HIIT 2 times a week, you've already weight trained, I think solid, steady state cardio, step mill, whatever, where you're going at a low intensity, where it's not eliciting too much damage or central nervous system issues. I do like slow, steady state, not only for health, but also for the fact that it just burns calories and it might even improve your recovery. As soon as I get done, okay. Good morning, everyone. Hello, Kalisha. Does repeating the same steroid cycle after proper PCC means you won't get the same results? I'm asking, is it necessary to switch compounds? I'm not the guy to ask for that. I'm not a drug guy. I would ask a drug guy. Just because I've competed professionally doesn't mean I really want to get into being a channel all about drugs. It's not what we're about here. From Eamon, hey Mark, the other day you said overhead presses are amazing for abs. I agree, and I've been doing OHP every week, at least once a month, but not seeing any results in my core. Should I train abs? You are seeing results in your core, and here's why. The reason you're not seeing results visually is because you're too fat. However, you are seeing results in your core because you're not falling. If you are able to sustain the weight, you're seeing results. So it's not about training abs, it's about being over fat or other variables involved. But, generally speaking, all of us have abs. It's just a matter of getting less fat so you see them. I would like to believe you don't have to train really hard to gain muscle, but I just can't believe that a Ronnie Coleman, for example, would have looked the same without training like a madman. So don't believe it. I'm not, again, man, like my advice is out there. The information's out there. If you want to accept some of it or take parts of it, bits and pieces, that's fine. If not, I'm not here to debate. It's kind of a waste of time. He said, she said, and the science is actually in my favor. So It is what it is. DMAA and yohimbine. DMAA I think is overrated, but it's a good energy product. Yohimbine actually does have data on it, freeing up fat and helping you to burn fat from those areas that you need to burn fat from, like stomach in men or hips and thighs in women. Suggestions for carb sources. This is the guy who couldn't see his abs. Now we know why. Can't prepare rice or other time-consuming food because of my schedule. Honestly, if you want to eat carbs, anything that has carbs in it that fits your macros. I do like fruit. I mean, you know, you want something easy, like it's not that hard to peel a banana. I've been working out for months now. I've lost a ton of fat and gained muscles just in my upper body. What am I doing wrong? Why am I not seeing the results in your legs? Well, maybe you're not training legs efficiently enough. And also realize for legs to grow, you have to stimulate them in a way they're not stimulated. Your legs hold your entire body mass, right? You walk on your legs. You do everything on your legs. So for your legs to grow, you need to have some overload stimulus. See if you're overloading correctly. If you're utilizing progressive overload, make sure you're using the basic lifts. Like I don't see anything about squats or deadlifts or anything like that. If you're just sitting there doing leg extensions and wondering why your legs aren't growing, well, there you go. Will I win Mr. Olympia one day? Chances are pretty slim, but we could all have dreams. What do you think of 10-minute walks a couple times a day? Well, I think there's nothing wrong with walking, but to think it's going to have an inherent benefit, you should be walking 10 minutes a couple times a day, just going to the fucking grocery store. I think if you have to schedule in 10-minute walks, you really need to examine where you are as a human being, because that's fucking retarded. You have to schedule in a 10-minute stroll? Come on, dude, what are you, 80? What if you can't feel abs? How do you build them? Well, you stand and you deadlift and you squat. You don't need to feel your abs. When you're squatting, you're inherently making it so your body doesn't fold over. If your body's not folding over, you're working your abs. It's inherent in the physiological nature of the movement. Good morning, you Henry. 4:40 a.m. What part of globe? I'm on the Eastern Standard Time. I'm in Tennessee right now. Just took my family on vacation in that area this year. Got a good workout from swatting all the carpenter's bees on the deck. The deck here is beautiful, man. I have nothing to complain about. Can you be fit and only work out 2 days a week? I'm a trucker and only home of 2 days. There are gyms on the road, and there are ways to exercise without a gym. So, fat boy, there's a reason you're a fat boy. It's because you're finding excuses. I know a lot of truckers. In fact, there's a guy on YouTube named Mac Truck who's in pretty damn good shape. Do supersets and complexes help lose fat? They burn calories, absolutely, but if you're training for overall results and muscle gain, I'm not the biggest fan of supersets because I do think it leads to some CNS overload, and I think it increases the time you'll need to get back to the gym training again. Salmonella outbreaks like this one are scary. They're saying it's from whey used in processing. To use a trusted brand. Yeah, the source they found the whey to be impacted in the goldfish was a whey source I don't use. Thank God. But yeah, generally Glanbia and Milk Specialties are the sources that I use for my whey. And they're really good sources. And they test out and they spec and they have the antibacterials. So that's just somebody being... And it's amazing how a big company would get away with that because generally GMPs and testing on the way in, way out for salmonella, which is done with the NSF, would be done. Someone was cutting corners. How long should you sleep for my training has been shit? Well, I mean, Daniel, this information's all over there. It depends on the person. I personally need 5 to 7 hours. My wife needs 7 to 9 hours. So it just depends on you. But generally speaking, 6 to 9 hours of sleep is the sweet spot. Bro, if I eat a lot of protein and be in a caloric deficit, can I build muscle and lose fat? You're better off losing muscle and focusing on that and trying to losing fat and trying to maintain muscle, and then bulking and not worried about a little bit of fat gain. Doing both at the same time is inefficient and probably not going to happen. What is your opinion on doing calories for calories just at a time? Here's the deal, like the measurement of calories on those machines are highly inaccurate. So if you are doing cardio based on caloric burn, it's highly inaccurate. However, if generally speaking, you're going to do around the same intensity, so you're either, or it's a good measurement. So if that's what you want to do it, fine. I'm a time guy, but as long as you're doing cardio, I have no problem with that. Currently fighting esophageal cancer post, oh man, I'm sorry about that. MTS shakes are a staple for me. I'm glad we can help, man. Glad they help you. I can't feel my chest on any type of incline. What do I do? I was married in Pigeon Forge. Honestly, if you can't feel your chest, there's something wrong with your form or your mind muscles. So if you want to feel your chest, you could pre-exhaust it. Doing flies or warming up with some kind of cable fly or dumbbell fly beforehand will pre-exhaust your pecs, so they will be, You will feel them. However, if you're not feeling your chest, you need to work on contracting your chest during the movement, not just pushing the weight. This isn't powerlifting, man. This is bodybuilding. Best form of cardio, don't want to lose too much size. Don't worry, man. You're not going to lose size. Cardio is not going to make you lose size. Everybody thinks it's so easy to lose muscle. It's really not. You have to be, it's not to that point. So there's no like, oh, if you do the bike instead of running, you're not going to lose muscle. Cardio is cardio. If you're burning calories, you're burning calories. It is what it is. Off topic, how do I get bigger when you have a small build? You eat in a hypercaloric state and you train hard. Go to massdiet.com. That's www.massdiet.com. I wrote that. That'll help you, David. Diet is also key to being fit. They're all the key to being fit, diet and training. Hey, Mark, I'm about to start training for women's figure with a trainer. I'm new to all this. He said he will provide me a diet plan. Should I be worried if I'm going to plan and not tailor it for me? Absolutely, Kalisha. If he's not adjusting it and you're not checking in, I would not go with that trainer because he sounds like an idiot. But I don't know the whole story. So what you said makes him sound like an idiot, but he might be amazing. What do you think of prebiotics and probiotics? I make something called machine uptake, so I'm a big fan. Yugoslavia, what are good techniques to pre-exhaust your back and increase mind-muscle connection? Anything. Rows, pull-ups, that's a good way. Mind-muscle connection, you just got to pull it and try and put your brain in that muscle. Man, I can't tell you how to think. It's like, how do I improve my skills on algebra? Do algebra. One good way is to do a scapular retraction, stand in a ready position, I call it, where you're partially squatted, like ready, knee slightly bent, and just pull your shoulder blades together, and that should help you recruit the muscles with your mind. Cammie and Thomas killing those deadlifts, they did great. What's the best bench press for women? Honestly, same as for men. Same as for men. I mean, a chest muscle is a chest muscle. We're all physiologically pretty much the same other than the extra rib thing. Does MTS sell cortisol support? Joe, it's called Tyrant. MTS Nutrition Tyrant. Tyrant. Mark, how can I prove my stubborn calves? You just keep training them, man. It's a weak point. If you don't genetically have calves, it's going to be a long road for you. Should a noob start with 5x5 training? No, I think a noob should start with 3 days a week, full body. Can you fill me in on your opinion on my physique? Well, you have no profile picture, and even so, I couldn't see it. Will post-workout cardio really inhibit gains? No, it won't. It won't. Unless you're burning more calories than you're taking in. It's all about caloric deficit. It's not acute like that. At the end of the day, it's about calories in versus calories out. Anyway, guys, I am going to rock out a good day with my family. I appreciate you guys joining. Appreciate you coming to my live. You guys have a great one.